In this video, I'm going to show you the colors I use on my Mediterranean palette. This might be useful to you if you live in the Mediterranean basin or any other similar climate, such as Southern California or Southwest Australia. And maybe you just want to paint something that has that Mediterranean feel. So when painting a landscape or seascape here in Greece, for example, either plein air or in the studio, how can you recreate that vibrancy and warm glow found in these areas? Welcome to my channel. My name is Vita Evenson and I paint Greece. Before we get started, please click the subscribe button and notification bell below so we can stay connected. And before I really understood the fundamentals of painting, I would lay out all sorts of colors on my palette and wondered why my painting attempts just didn't cut it. I had been painting for a few years on my own and thinking I was getting the hang of it, but it wasn't until I met my mentor that I learned through experience that I had no idea how to see color, nor how to express the scene before me effectively through color. There is a certain feel here in Greece. I can't tell exactly what it is, but I suspect it has to do with many things, like the ancient culture, the simple yet delicious food, the rugged and rocky landscapes, and that intense blue of the Aegean Sea, and those deep orange sunsets. And how do you paint that? How do you paint that energetic vibrancy that seems to be everywhere here? In this video, we're going to talk about the primary palette and the classic limited palette, and then we'll compare these to the Mediterranean palette so you can see the differences between each one. So let's get started. Okay, so here is an example of the three different palettes. As you can see, the one with the primary palette, it's just yellow, red, and blue with titanium white, nothing else. And you can see that the painting reads well. It's nice to look at. It can work just fine. And this is the palette that I highly suggest you begin with if you are a beginner. And if you are a more advanced painter, I also suggest going back and painting with just the primaries plus titanium white or perhaps a lead white. The reason being it will release you from developed patterns and habits. And when you challenge yourself in that way, then when you go back to your regular palette, the one that you normally use, you will find that you have better control and perhaps even find ways to dive deeper into your palette, deeper in the sense of understanding. Okay, in this second one, I have the classic limited palette, and that means that there is a warm and cool color of each of the primaries. So I have a warm and cool yellow, I have a warm and cool red, and a warm and cool blue. Again, it's a very basic limited palette. I don't have any extras on it. I think you can very safely add a burnt sienna, which is one of my go-to colors because of the area here. And I use it for washing, putting a wash down on before I start painting, so I'm not painting on white. But as you can see, there is much more depth, and the painting turns out just a little bit more, has a little bit more oomph to it, and that's just with using these basic colors. Hey guys, I just wanted to slip in to let you know that I have some space open for some private coaching. If you want and you're interested in learning how to release any creative blocks or help yourself open up your inner channel so that you can engage that beautiful, marvelous creative flow at will, get in touch with me. Let's talk. We will be doing a 20-minute free Zoom call. We can get to know each other a little bit more and talk about the things that you need. All right, let's get back to the video. Now, in the Mediterranean palette, what I love about the Mediterranean or any of the dry places, like I said, Southern California would be my other go-to area in my mind for the Mediterranean. There is a greater sense of warmth coming through in this palette. And what basically has happened is I have the same reds, a warm and a cool red, and I have the same blues, which is a cobalt blue and the ultramarine blue. Sometimes I will add cerulean blue, but not always. I didn't use cerulean blue in this painting. And here's the main thing, the yellows. I have, rather than a warm and cool yellow, I use two warm yellows. One being the cadmium yellow medium, up to the cadmium yellow light, but not lemon yellow. This is lemon yellow here, and I think you can see the difference between the two yellows. This one is cadmium yellow light, I believe. So that's what I have here. Added to the Indian yellow, which is a transparent yellow. I've pulled it off so that you can see how transparent it is. It's quite beautiful as a color. And this is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to warm up your palette without it getting a chalky yellow color. It just kind of brings a different tint to it. I have also added this transparent golden green, which I find is a perfect color. I came upon it by accident, and once I saw what it can do, also similar to the Indian yellow, in the way that you can mix it in with other colors to just get this glow about it, this warmth about it. Then I have yellow ochre, which I use a lot in rocks and on the beach, more so than I did in here, but it was used in here as well. And also burnt sienna and natural burnt umber. Those are my three go-to earth tones that I use. And I use the natural burnt umber because it does actually have it is a warmer umber. With the regular raw umber, there's deadening to the colors, to the mixes that I make, whereas this keeps the vibrancy of warmth, the frequencies, the color frequencies of warmth. And that is what I enjoy about this palette. So a simple sketch, but you can get a really good feel of how it works. And even though I haven't got, if you look at the highlight area here on the boat, I haven't got strong highlights here. It's stronger here and much stronger there. And the reason for that is that there's a vibrancy to this painting, which is not here. So when you have a a primary limited palette, you're going to need to up your darks and your lights to get that kind of bang for the painting that you want. And here you're kind of in middle ground, and you can go both ways. But here you don't really need to have like a really strong highlight area. It just glows on its own. Okay, so that is an example of the 3 different types of palettes and what I use and why I use it. Here's how I use the palette. I'll give you an example. I'm starting a larger painting of the headlands, and this is the very, very first layer, just putting in color. And here I'm, aside from burnt sienna and yellow ochre, it's basically just the primary palette, just getting the basic colors in. And as I develop the painting and put in more layers and develop the form of the rocks and the background and the foreground and the sea, I will add in more colors. I'm using the transparent golden green color towards the end of the painting, usually of my paintings. I am more frequently using yellow ochre and burnt sienna and natural burnt umber in the middle stages of the painting. After this dries a little bit and I go back in on the second layer, I will add those colors in more. And using the 2 warmer yellows from the primary yellow towards a warmer yellow, which for me, I use the cadmium yellow light. Cadmium yellow medium, or just your plain cadmium yellow, is the one that I actually use mostly, but I'm out of it right now. And the Indian yellow, which is a beautiful, beautiful transparent orangey yellow. It's very warm, it's transparent, so it mixes well with other colors without tinting it too much. It just adds that warmth to it. Or towards the end of the painting, if I'm going over and glazing over with the transparent yellow, the transparent Indian yellow, it will create just like the perfect touch in certain areas, in the sunlit areas, specifically on the rocks, and sometimes over a patch of water, especially where there are rocks underneath the water very close to the surface, or the water that's coming up on the sand, and of course the sand itself. So those are the basic ways that I'm using this palette. I hope that this has been helpful to you. If you have any questions, let me know. I will put in the description below the Mediterranean palette. I'll put all 3 in there of what I have today, what I'm using today. If you want to learn more about painting and how to put a painting together, get in touch with me. I do private coaching plus small groups where I will coach you through your needs of what you need to do and the next step that is perfect for you. Get in touch with me and let's talk about that.